Today's episode is powered by Vunked. Do everything you want to do off the grid. Check the link in the description. All right, 3, 2, 1, influencer. Hi guys, welcome to our van tour. This is our van. Why can't I do it if it's not climbing? Vans, what's up with that? All right, something different today. Tom and Wan's van tour. I guess for a while, I think like van videos were my most watched type of video on YouTube, which was kind of insufferable. So I just thought I would add to the...
There needs to be one more.
There needs to be one more. But no, I think we haven't had any experience building anything before, and we're climbers. So I guess if you're a climber and you want to build a van, this is what you can achieve with 0 skills.
And a few tools.
And a few tools.
Yeah, we've been living in this now for about 4 months, and it's been really great. We've been all around Europe and we've been having a great time, and we thought we should maybe show you around and give you a tour.
Here she is, Cedric the Whale,
No.
as Joe calls the van. No?
It's not its name.
What's his name?
Don't know yet.
Okay, well comment down below if you can think of anything better than Cedric the Whale, which I doubt. Let us know. It's a long wheelbase Sprinter, 2016, so it's ULEZ. It just came as like, it's a DHL van, so we added the windows, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then a max air fan at the front and a skylight at the back. So that's kind of all the external modifications we did. So should we go in?
Yeah!
It's a van. Swivel seats at the front, so we can swivel our seats. We rented a van and we really liked the swivel seats. A lot of people go for the wall. For me, it adds like an extra metre and a bit. So, I mean, if you're gonna buy a long van, you may as well use all of it. This little swivelly jobby moves up and down. So you can sit here and work, or we can both like eat across. But I think we normally both prefer to sit in these 2 chairs. Obligatory above cab storage, which is like jam-packed full. But yeah, it's got our like reflective window covers in there, towels, all our down jackets and that kind of thing. Yeah, the window covers are important because obviously when the sun hits the cab, it gets pretty warm in here pretty quick. Little bench seat with some cushions, so we can have 3 people sat around. There's a safe inside and some shoes and like more waterproof jackets, because you never know, you might need some more waterproof jackets. And then I guess that takes us through to the kitchen. Kitchen. We've got a little extra bit of counter that flaps up. Pretty standard stuff, I think. But it's good, like more counter space is just way better in these vans. Sink with obligatory chopping board that fits inside the sink. You can't not have that. Tap. Ta-da! Water in it. This was Annie's big request, was like a decent cooktop. Oh yeah. So we got three hobs, gas, and oven underneath. And we do use the oven mostly for just oven pizzas. But if you think about how much money you save on pizza, pretty good. Then you can go buy pizza with that money you save. It's important. So we have toiletries, creatine in there, you know, for the gains. In here we have basically just coffee stuff. So we've got our North Face tin with some beans in it. Got your hashtag North Face Balletti mocha pot thing. Moving down, drawers, cutlery, plates, about 100 different mug options. This is important. Food, and then the one underneath is also food. This is like a big one underneath the oven where we keep basically pots and pans and scales and a little like blender. And then they're all secured with little latches. We tried like 3 or 4 different kind of latch solutions. Those work perfectly well. And then we have bins. Ooh, bins. Underneath here we also have like a 20-litre grey water tank. So the water from the sink can either go out if we're just like in a car park or something, or into the 20-litre grey water tank if we don't want to be washing up water on the ground. It's worth mentioning all the units in here are made out of 15mm poplar plywood, which is about 30% lighter than birch ply. It's also a little bit softer, so you kind of have to be a bit more careful with it. But yeah, we saved like about 100 kilograms by using that kind of plywood over birch ply that you might use in a climbing wall or something. But yeah, the walls are cheaper plywood because we wanted to paint them. And then yeah, we kind of left this just oiled it, and yeah, I like it. It's very relaxing in here. Again, pure chaos. This is like our charging cupboard, so like camera batteries, and then there's like a USB socket in the back of this cupboard. And then this one we keep like hard drives, some cooking books, and like just a shitload of like USB cables. This is one of our more unique features. Mostly we just use this as a counter, but we have a chair underneath and a monitor, so we can get the monitor out, the chair out, and then we can like properly edit videos on a big screen. So far I've just kind of been mostly happy editing on my laptop, but yeah, we'll see how much we use that, I guess.
I've used it
And
once.
you've used it a couple times, yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, routed a hole in the desk so we can run all the cables through, so cable managed. Okay, quick note on the ceiling. This is 8mm poplar plywood, so a bit thinner, and then it's not tongue and groove, so we routed these little grooves in it to kind of give it a bit of that tongue and groove feeling, I guess, which is what a lot of people use for their ceilings. It was both simpler and more complicated than doing tongue and groove, because yeah, trying to get a whole sheet of plywood to fit on your ceiling is difficult, it turns out. Yeah, so but yeah, we like the way it looks, and like, you know, it's nice. I guess you can lie in bed and like I quite often just like look at the grain. The grain's nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at the light switches. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so we have these two. This one does like an under desk light. It's on a dimmer. And this one does this under cabinet light that runs the whole way down. I routed a groove and then just ran like a big LED strip I bought on Amazon down it. These are the lights we use the most. They're actually super bright when they're turned all the way up, and they just look way nicer. We then have 4 of these LED overhead lights for kind of the sitting area. There's 2 more for the kitchen, and then 1 more light switch back here next to the bedroom. So if you're searching for something, there's 2 more little LED ceiling lights for that. Last little bits in the kitchen. Big cupboard above the fridge unit. I guess more toiletries, our like alcohol stash. And then in here also, actually, it's not normally this rammed in here. There's the controller for the diesel heater, and then 90-litre vertical fridge.
Whoa.
Or yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This one is from Alpicool. It does the job. The freezer doesn't work very well. Apart from that, it's good. And yeah, you really wanted a stand-up fridge rather than like, a lot of people have one that they pull out, like a chest one.
Terrible.
You're just like constantly rummaging through it. You can fit a lot in, but I think they're just a bit annoying. They're also like a little bit more efficient on electricity, but we kind of overspec our electrics anyway, so.
The least amount of time I can spend hunched over rummaging through stuff,
Yeah.
the better.
I think one thing maybe you'll notice about our van in comparison to other vans is there aren't very many like transforming things. You don't have to pull this out to get that out. We basically just wanted it to be as simple as possible, A, to make the build easier, since we're noobs, and B, so it's just like not a faff every day. The only thing you have to really assemble is the desk, and we've noticed that because we have to assemble it, we don't use it very often. So I think ease of use is key,
Yeah.
especially because we're really messy as well. All right, you ready for the most, my favourite part of the van? So maybe my second most favourite part of the van.
The place where you spend the most time.
This place where I spend the most time. It's actually not the bed.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the toilet. No, he's talking about his other favourite thing.
I'm talking about, no, it's not the toilet, it's not the bed, okay? Yeah, I do more than poop and sleep. It's debatable, but you know. Yeah, coffee machine. We don't have a shower in our van, but we do have a coffee machine. So
That is the correct priorities.
that's the correct priorities, yeah.
Yeah.
Internet, coffee,
Yeah. Big bed.
big bed, no shower. Yeah, so obviously like editing and making coffees and that kind of thing is pretty power hungry. So this brings us to a nice little segue to today's sponsor, Vunked. So yeah, Vunked is a company that I actually reached out to because I found their website super helpful for designing the electrical system. And they kindly offered to sponsor this video. They have like an amazing online tool that helps you kind of build a system without actually having to go through and purchase it. And it helps you kind of calculate what appliances you're going to use, how many days you need to spend off grid, and like how many solar panels you need, what kind of batteries you need. And it's just like a really good way of kind of visualizing that, because it's pretty hard to visualize when you're when you're just looking at an empty van and trying to think about what you might need to do. So yeah, let's go look at the electrics. Okay, so around the back, oh god, something almost always falls out. Kettlebell for your elbow rehab. So it's quickly worth mentioning 2 gigantic organic pads and then some boxes of stuff. And then in here on the right, we have all the electrics and a little bonus light so you can see what you're doing. It's always a mess back here, basically. I don't think we actually really finished building. We just kind of got to this point and drove away. At some point, I'll make it beautiful under here. But apart from you, we're the only people who really look under here. So, okay, so this is I guess the heart of the operation. This is basically what lets us actually live inside the van, I guess, full time. It looks super complicated, and that's kind of why I ended up using Vunkt to help me plan the system, speak to them with their kind of support team and kind of figure it out. But I did install everything myself, hence why it's a little bit messy under here. I guess from the top, we can charge in 3 ways. First is our solar panels on the roof. So if the sun's out, we've got 525 watts of solar. That charges the battery via this smart little Renogy charge controller. We can also charge off the van's alternator. So whilst we're driving, we get 50 amps from the alternator, which also charges the battery. That's 12 volt. Then we have this giant thing, which is our inverter charger. So this not only lets us charge our laptops and use the kind of plug sockets, we also have an outlet on the outside like a normal caravan, I guess. So if we plug in, that charges the battery super quickly. All those different ways of power coming in go into this thing, which is called a links distributor. I won't talk about what that does really. It's just a thing. And then that goes into the battery. So yeah, that's kind of how we charge. And then I guess power then has to go from the battery out to our appliances. So the majority of the things in a van build you want to be running on 12 volt. So all the lights, the fridge, all of that stuff is all 12 volt. So it goes out these 2 fuse boards down here. And yeah, that runs kind of cables all the way through the van. And then the other way is through the giant box, the inverter. So that powers the plug sockets when it's on. We have 2 rings of sockets, 2 sockets on this side and 1 socket on the kitchen side of the van. And we have a whacking great Fogstar 560 amp hour lithium battery. Yeah, so if you're thinking about doing a van, make sure you click the link in the description to check out Vunkt and their website. All the tools on there are super useful. And we also have a discount code that will also be linked down below. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, it's a great way to do it. A lot of companies don't have a transparent pricing structure, which is why I liked Vunkt. I could see how much it was going to cost me as I was speccing it up. So I could think, oh, maybe I'll have a slightly smaller battery or a slightly bigger one. And it also tells you how long you can spend off the grid. So yeah, on this side of the van, we have our water. It's dribbling for some reason. 70 litre water tank with the infill point just at the back. And then that runs into a filtery thing. And you did this, can you tell?
It runs into a little filter and the Shareflow water pump, which is connected into an accumulator. And then that goes into basically our tap.
The tap at the front, or the boiler that we don't use.
Yeah, we've never used this boiler.
We've never used it. We've never felt the need to use it. If you're building a van, maybe you don't need a boiler.
But you just heat water up on the stove, it's fine.
Yeah. It's a bed.
It's not just a bed,
It's not just a bed.
king-sized
So-
Emma mattress.
Yeah, so me and Annie are both over 6 foot tall. So even in a wider van, we couldn't sleep across, which is kind of one of the reasons why we went for the Sprinter. So we've got it's basically, apart from a tiny bit we cut out of the corner, it's a full king size bed. And it's a Emma mattress. It's our mattress from the flat when we moved out. I sleep better in here than I do anywhere else in the world, basically. So
Little side windows.
So yeah, little side windows. At the moment, we've kind of got some homemade bug nets over them because there's a lot of bugs out here. But basically, we can open those up, have the max air fan on, and some air gets pulled through. We also have another skylight back here, which broke. so we can't open that. But the idea with that is we can pop that open as well and pull air kind of from the front through the van. We've got 2 overhead bins for clothes each, which are maybe yours are more organised than mine. Nope, they're not. Down the side of the bed, we kind of have like pants and socks and t-shirts down the sides. And then the last thing is these little touch lights and USBs. So we both have a USB each. And then Annie has bonus USBs that I put in that we've never used because turns out you don't need 4 USB sockets in your bed. So this is a little kind of control unit, I guess. So in here, from left to right, this is a little voltage controller for our boiler that we never use. This is the on-off and kind of settings for our electric boiler that we never use. This is a little levelometer for the gas that we never use because it either says it's full or empty. So I think about halfway it says it's empty and above halfway it says it's full. So that's a good bit of tech that, cheers. An on-off switch for the inverter so we can have the 230 volts on at our like main sockets. And then this little switch, which is the pump for the water, because you don't necessarily want the pump on all the time, because if the tank's empty, it just pumps and pumps. Now I hear you ask, whence thou have had your espresso, where do you do your business? That's what Omar would want to know. We have a little composting loo, or I guess a separator loo is probably more accurate, which is inside this box that we built.
I made that. Maybe that's why it's my favourite bit, because
you made that
toilet.
box. Yeah. It works I think it works pretty well, but the marketing and all the websites for like separator loos and compost loos will tell you they don't smell
At all.
at all.
In fact, they smell nice.
They smell nice, a nice earthy smell. As you can imagine, it does sometimes smell a bit like shit. Living in a van is pretty glamorous. But I think this is simpler, and when we've rented a van with a chemical loo, then it smells like chemicals and poo. So last thing for us that was super important, being able to shoot, edit and upload videos kind of from the van, hopefully work on onward jobs from the van, was having internet. So we have Starlink, which is, so yeah, we have a Starlink on the roof, and it means we get like super fast internet everywhere. As long as you're not underneath a tree, it works like amazingly, but costs quite a lot of money and has a slightly questionable CEO.
Sorry.
Yeah, we also had one fly off the roof, so we had to buy another one. Sweet, so that was our van tour. Make sure you check out Vunked, who really kindly sponsored this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or message me on Instagram. We also filmed the build as well, so if you want to see any of that, let me know, but maybe you don't. And yeah, keep up with the rest of our travels. Hopefully the guys will be joining us out here soon, so loads more climbing content coming your way.